Hi guys, welcome back to Yoga with Alex. Today we're going to be working on a Yin Yoga sequence. Yin is a opposite type of practice if you're used to doing vinyasa. Yin really gets into the fascia tissue, which is focused on your bones and the connective tissue and muscles around the bones. And what the focus is intended to do is allow your body to settle into these positions for a range of time, usually around 5 minutes, to allow your body to open up and get deeper into the different poses that we're going to be working on. So today is going to be all upper body. We're going to be focusing on our neck, our wrist, our shoulders, and our back, and just really trying to get into some of the areas that we don't always give focus to. We are going to utilize some props. So if you have a bolster, 2 blocks, which I have right here, okay, and then also a blanket or a towel. These are just going to help us get deeper into these postures and allow us to be more comfortable too when we're holding these positions for long periods of time, because sometimes that can be difficult. The shoulders and the neck poses are not going to be really anxiety triggering positions, but if you feel at any moment that you can't hold the position for whatever reason, no worries. Just kind of come out gently, try not to, rush in or out of any pose. And then maybe you can just take a breath and then come back to where we're at on the mat. Meet your body where it is. If it's telling you, to expand, to go deeper, then listen. If it's telling you to hold back a little bit because something's hurting, we never want anything to hurt. So it's really important that we take note of what our body is telling us. Some days I come to the mat and I'm fine and I can go through a full 60 or even 90-minute vinyasa flow. And then the next day I come back and I feel like lead weight and I just have to move a little bit slower. So you really need to listen to what your body is telling you. We're going to start off in a little bit of a meditation, just a quiet meditation to get our minds ready for the practice. So what I'm going to invite you to do, if you want, I like to take this because it just gives me a little bit more of an elevated seat. I like to take my blanket and fold it kind of in this position. So I just take it after folding it 3 times and fold it in half again. And then I place this blanket underneath of my seat, and it just gives me a little bit of an elevated position here. And I'm going to also invite you to switch up whatever leg you typically cross in the front when you come to a seated position, just to kind of shift the body around. You can rest your hands on your knees, keeping them down for grounding or up to receive. I want you to take a couple of breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just begin to settle in, taking note of maybe why you came to this practice today, maybe setting an intention, thinking about something positive that we want to do for ourselves. You made the decision to come to practice, and that's more than half the battle. They say once that decision has been made, that you're already in the yoga practice, because your mind is there, your spirit is there, your emotions are there. Then you just have to bring your body physically there, and you've got all the components. So just begin to breathe in and out, quieting the mind. If you feel like it's difficult to be quiet, or you've just got a lot happening inside of your mind, maybe inhale the word let and exhale the word go. Inhaling for let and exhaling for go. And then repeating this mantra quietly to yourself. We're just going to stay here for a couple moments of quiet. Maybe you want to put one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach to really feel the breath coming into your body. And as it expands out, slowly bringing that awareness back into the body, setting that intention for this practice. Maybe you're just here to get in a little bit of a workout. Maybe you're here to see how far you can go in these different yin postures. Or maybe you just needed time for yourself to come to the mat and dedicate those minutes solely to you, because there's so much happening around you that you just need some time to breathe and exist, without any distractions. So on an inhale, opening up those eyes and coming back into our space. We're gonna remove the blanket from underneath of your seat if it's there, and we're just gonna begin to take some nice stretching. So I'm gonna ask that you take your hands and place them around the back of your head. We're gonna begin by opening up the neck. So when you're ready, inhale, just drop the neck back, and then exhale, move it forward. Inhale, open your neck and drop it back, and exhale, come forward. Inhale, back, exhale, forward. Inhale, back, and exhale, forward. We're going to drop our hands to our knees, sitting up nice and tall, and we're just going to rotate our neck left to right. So starting in the center, inhale to the right, and exhale to the left. Inhale to the right, and exhale to the left. Inhale right, exhale left. One more time on the right, inhale right, and exhale left. This time coming to center and inhaling left, exhaling right, inhaling left, and exhaling right, inhaling left, and exhaling right, inhale left, and exhale right. One more time, inhale left, exhale right, coming back to center. We're going to take a couple of neck circles. So when you're ready, just dropping slowly forward, letting that head hang low. Your jaw should be light and not clenched. And on an inhale, rotate to the right, coming down to the back. And as you get to the left, exhaling around, coming back to center. We're going to take 3 on each side. So you can move at your own pace. Try to link your movements with the breath. And once you finish the right, just coming back to center to pause, maybe coming back with a straight back, and then bending forward and circling to the left, inhaling left, dropping to the back, exhaling when you get to the right. 2 more times. Coming back to center and sitting up nice and tall. We're going to flip over into kind of like a combination of child's pose if you want, or tabletop. And I'm going to face you guys just so that you can see what I'm doing. But we're going to be taking a series of wrist stretching, because that is one area we do often in vinyasa or any other type of yoga. We put a lot of pressure and stress on our wrists, and we don't always give ourselves enough time to stretch them out accordingly. So when you're ready, you can either kind of stay kind of on your legs, or just walking your wrists out, maybe coming up to a tabletop, keeping them here. And then take your arms and rotate them so that your hands are facing in. And maybe sway from left to right. Just feeling the pressure kind of going back and forth on your wrists. And maybe taking them back up so that they're pointing to the top and leaning forward, kind of rocking back and forth. Maybe now taking your hands to the outside. And again, moving from left to right. Maybe then walking your hands towards the back of your mat. Feeling that release in the lower forearm closest to our wrist, and maybe just leaning back, seeing how far back you can go without causing pain. I'll turn sideways to make this a little bit easier for you guys to see. So nice straight arm, and just moving back with your body. It should feel really good, maybe coming forward, and then back, and then forward, and then back, and then releasing your hands back to the front. Again, maybe moving back and forth. This time we're going to flip our wrists upside down so that our wrists are touching, the tops of our hands are touching the top of our mat. And again, just kind of move back and forth. Just allowing the body to slowly begin to open up, getting into these joints. I'm going to turn this way because I'm going to move my hands in towards the center, still upside down, and again, rocking back and forth. And maybe this time, taking my hands to the outside, still upside down, and kind of massaging my wrist back and forth. Flipping my hands so that my fingers face my feet. And again, moving up and down. Just giving them a little bit of a massage, and then coming back to a neutral position, dropping back, maybe rotating those wrists around, going clockwise a couple times, and then counterclockwise a few times. Just really starting to open up our different joints. Maybe you want to give your fingers a couple of stretches. We don't always, you can push them kind of like in a prayer position so that your fingers are going against each other, and just feel this release. Feels amazing. And then maybe just shaking them out. Beautiful. Okay, we're now going to come into child's pose, but we're going to utilize our blocks for this position. So Place your blocks at the top of your mat. And again, you guys can decide which level and height you want to keep the blocks at. That's going to best get you into the position. But we're going to hold this position for about 5 minutes. Okay, and I've got my little timers here to keep us on track. But what I invite you to do is place them out in front of you so that we're going to get kind of deeper into this child's pose. So we want to bring our legs to the width of the mat, and we're still going to try to keep our base on our feet, which you're going to, as you normally would, walking your hands out. This time, we're going to place our hands on our blocks, allowing our arms to really open up, and see if you can just drop your forehead down to the mat. This, using the blocks for a little bit of support, just allows us to open up our backs a little bit more and get deeper into the posture. So like I said, we're going to hold this for 5 minutes. If you feel like it's too much, just come a little bit closer to your seat. So instead of extending so far forward, maybe just bring it in, hug closer to you another inch, and just see how far you can go. But if you have the availability to open up and really touch your head down to the mat, maybe getting your chest a little bit closer, that's the goal. We're just opening up our arms, we're opening up our back. You're gonna feel this, right? Kind of where your shoulders are, and even in your armpit area. It's a really great stretch to get into. So when you're ready, getting into that position, walking those hands out, using the blocks, any way that you need, resting your head on the mat. You can close your eyes to kind of get deeper into the practice and just focus on the breath work. Come back to how we started at the beginning of practice with our inhales and exhales. And maybe you need to repeat to yourself that let and go, and just repeat that over and over again to try to really quiet your mind and get into this practice. As you get deeper, maybe your chest gets closer to the ground. Maybe you feel like you want to move those blocks maybe another inch out in front of you. Feel free to make any adjustments you may need. On an inhale, slowly coming back up and walking yourself back up to your seat. Take your legs and flip them around from underneath. Maybe taking a nice forward fold. Really feeling that release in the legs. You might have felt like they were tingling or on fire, but it was a compression pose in our legs. So now you're just feeling this rush of energy, fresh blood to those certain areas, especially in our knees. And you should feel a nice little sensation. Maybe you take your legs and kind of windshield them back and forth. We're going to move now into a side body support position. And again, we're going to utilize our block. This time you're only going to need one. If you don't have a block, I can also show you this with a bolster. So I'll show you bolster first, just in case you don't have a block available. I do recommend the block more so than the bolster, but it's up to you which one you'd like to do. So we're going to take our legs, bringing our knees together, and just dropping them down to the side so that they stack one on top of each other. We're going to extend our legs out in a nice straight position. We're going to bring our bolster for prop one, just right underneath of our chest. And then we're going to kickstand our arm up, and we're going to hold our head like this. And we're going to hold this position for 5 minutes. Now you can either do it with this bolster and try to keep the bolster on a higher point, or you can use the block. And for this practice, I'm going to utilize my bolster or my block. And again, we're holding each position for about 5 minutes. You want to keep the legs nice and stacked over each other. You can have a slight bend in the knees, placing that block right underneath of your chest, kickstanding your arm, just supporting your head. You can rest your left arm on your side and just breathe. The hardest part in the yin practice is holding and being still. Sometimes we feel this urge to just get out of it. It hurts, so then we need to make adjustments. You find the right alignment, and as long as you're listening to the cues, it should all kind of fall into place. But again, maybe your wrists are sore, so you just kind of, lift more into your fingertips rather than your wrist. I'm just holding this here. Inhale, dropping that left arm to the ground and pushing yourself back up. We're going to flip over to the left side body, using that block to be supported underneath of your chest. Again, you want to bring those knees to touch, kind of drop them down, back in a nice alignment. Everything should be nice and stacked over each other. And again, laying that block right underneath your chest, and we're propping that left arm up to support the head. And again, getting comfortable in position. You can straighten your legs out a little bit, having a slight bend in the knee. And we're going to stay here for 5 minutes. When you're ready, bringing that right arm down, helping you to sit up. You can remove the block. We're not going to need it for our next couple of poses. We're just clearing some space. We're going to move into cow face pose with a couple of different arm variations to go along with it. So for the first one, I'm going to show you before we get started what I want you to do with your arms. So I'm going to face the back of my mat here. When we're in this position, our legs are going to be crossed over together, and I'll show you that in a moment. But for the first arm position, we're going to actually take our arms, this is called eagle pose right here with our arms, where we bring them to a prayer pose, go to the back of our mat. And we're just going to sit here with a nice straight spine. And we're going to breathe into this. This brings the shoulders back, it opens up the chest, it helps us to create a nice alignment, but also giving a stretch through our back. Okay, so that's going to be the first position that we work with in cow face posture. So I'm going to have you come to your mat. You're going to drop your left leg down first and bend it so that your left foot is touching your right base, and then you're going to take your right foot over top. Now, for some people, this is where you can go. And for me, this is a difficult asana to get into. But the goal is to try to get your feet to both be kind of flat on the mat and knee over knee. So if you have to, you can even lean forward, kind of adjust those knees. And then when you're ready, coming back into position. We're going to stay here in this first round for 2 minutes. Okay, so just when you're ready, kind of getting your legs into that grip, having a lot of nice even control. All right, and then when you're ready, you're going to take your hands in prayer position behind you and just try to keep your back nice and straight and breathe into this pose. So palms should be coming together at the middle of your back. Just breathing. This is a nice chest opener, but also a compression pose in our legs because we're cutting off different parts of the circulation. And then when we open them back up, there's this nice release of prana into those areas. So just staying in this, keeping your chest nice and open. Face is facing forward. Chin is parallel to your mat. Continuing for 1 more minute. We're halfway there. Keeping that spine nice and straight. We're almost there. Breathing into any areas that are causing any tension or stress. And on the next inhale, releasing those arms, kind of shaking them out, maybe giving them a nice cross. You can undo your legs, straighten those out for a minute, just bringing some energy back in, kind of loosening up that grip. We're going to take cow face pose again, but this time we're going to use eagle arms. And we're going to work with the left side first, since we just kind of tucked our right leg over top. So this time, our right leg is going to bend and our right foot is going to touch. And our left foot is going to come over top. Again, if you need, you can come forward, adjust the knees so that they're in line, and then sit back. And then for this pose, we're going to take eagle bind with our arms. So on an inhale, lift those arms up. Exhale, tuck the left arm underneath the right. And bring the grip up so that your elbows are in line with your chin. Okay, and we're going to hold this for about 2.5 minutes. And then I'm going to let you guys know when it's time to switch, and we'll uncross our legs and flip them back into that other position, and then re-grip our hands. So when you're ready, taking that bind, keeping your elbows close to alignment with your chin, and just breathing. Again, this is a compression pose for both now the arms and the legs. We're just trying to keep a nice straight back. If you're near a wall, feel free to use the wall to help you keep a nice straight posture. Keeping those elbows raised to our chin. Try not to let them drop. Should feel an expansion in your shoulders as your shoulders are moving to the sides of your body, allowing your top back to really expand and width. Maybe for the next minute, you want to fold forward, trying to get your elbows to your knees, just really coming in for a tight grip. Maybe you can go a little bit above that. And again, just holding this here for a little bit deeper of a variation. Again, if you can't go that far, just stay where we started. It's okay wherever you're at. And on an inhale, coming up, back to center, lifting those arms up to our chin, and then releasing the bind. Take your legs, maybe bringing your knees into your chest, releasing your arms back. You can do like a little counter stretch, giving yourself a stretch up, really releasing those arms, kind of rinsing our shoulders, maybe taking your legs, windshield wipering them side to side. Before we get into the right side this time. So coming back to that cow face pose, this time the left leg is going underneath and the right leg is going to go on top. You can rock forward and really get into this position, making sure your knees are nice and aligned, taking any adjustments you need. This time we're going to inhale our arms up, and the right arm is going to come underneath of the left. And again, we want to move those elbows up to our chin. So when you're ready, just breathing into this position. Keeping a nice straight back. If you need to use the wall to help with your alignment, please do so. Otherwise, just try to stay still with a nice firm back. Head straight, chin looking out, parallel to the floor. If you want more of a challenge, try bringing those elbows towards your knees. Maybe you can go out a little bit in front, bending forward and just stay here. Or again, if this is too much, maintaining this original posture that we came into. But go where your body is telling you to go. Holding this grip and breathing. Don't forget to breathe. And a lot of times it helps to keep your breath audible so that you can really feel the breath entering and exiting your body. It helps to take the mind off of any discomfort or junk that comes into our filtration system in the mind. Staying here for one more breath. And on the inhale, coming up, releasing our arms, releasing our legs. Maybe this time, instead of taking a windshield wiper, we come into a reverse plank. So keeping your legs nice and long, your arms and fingers will be behind us, fingertips facing the wall behind us, and just lift your body up, dropping your head back, keeping your legs nice and straight, feeling this release of the shoulders and then the legs. And when you're ready, dropping back down. We're gonna move now into puppy pose. Puppy pose is really similar to child's pose, except your base is not staying flat on your feet. This time, it will be as if you're in tabletop, kind of just dropping your chest and arms to the mat. You can utilize the blanket if you want a little bit more support for underneath of your chest and maybe for your forehead. I like to keep it kind of folded in thirds so that it looks like this, and I just lay it out for where my chest would be. We're gonna come into tabletop, and we're gonna hold this position for 5 minutes. But the best way to get into this is moving into tabletop and then walking your hands out as far as you can in front of you until your chest comes all the way down to the mat. Now, if this is too much, then go where you can, and maybe as we sit here in this pose, you are able to get deeper and deeper. But again, listen to your body. Let it dictate for you where you need to go. Maybe as the pose goes on, you can get your hands to walk out a little bit further in front of you, keeping your knees and legs hips width distance apart, and just begin to open up the chest and the arms. Adjusting as you need, getting deeper into the pose. Seeing if you can get just a little bit deeper, walking those fingertips out. And then inhale. Pushing yourself back up, maybe bringing the legs in and just coming to a seat on your knees. Maybe taking a shoulder stretches up towards your neck and down your spine. Just releasing any tension. You should have maybe felt a little bit of tingling in those arms. It's moving that energy throughout our body. A great chest opener and back opener as well. Go ahead and set that blanket aside. We're gonna come into thread the needle, and it's gonna be more of like an adapted thread the needle where we use kind of both arms to support us. We're going to kind of kickstand one arm at a time to just allow us to open up a little bit deeper. Okay, so feel free to just take your time. We're going to stay in each position for about 2.5 minutes. So when you're ready, coming to that tabletop position, we're going to lift our right hand up towards the sky, just giving a nice kind of counter stretch to what we were just doing. And then we're going to thread this hand underneath, and we're going to take our left hand out and just kickstand it over here. You'll be seeing if you can rest your cheek all the way to the mat, keeping it nice and loose. We're just going to breathe here for a couple of minutes. Make sure your pressure is not all in the left hand. You don't want to put so much in there that you feel like you're going to collapse. It's really just there to stabilize you, to just provide additional support, but not to carry all of the weight. If you want to go a little bit deeper, try turning your palms towards the ground. Maybe walking those fingertips out a little bit further. Really getting that stretch in your shoulder. And on an inhale, coming back up, reaching that right arm up, and then dropping it down to the mat. We're going to do the same thing on the left. So when you're ready, lifting the left arm up, threading that arm underneath, and kind of kickstanding our right arm out to the side. Try to see if you can get your left cheek and shoulder to touch the mat, and just stay here. Again, for a deeper twist, touch your palms to the mat. Try to get it as flat as you can, maybe walking those fingertips out just a little bit further. On an inhale, coming back up, reaching that left arm up to the sky, and then coming back down. Beautiful stretch. We're gonna make our way down to our stomachs, laying flat on our mat. And you can just stay here and kind of take a moment for a pause before we move into some of our final asana poses for this practice. We're going to move into Sphinx pose next. Sphinx pose doesn't appear to be very difficult, but can actually cause a little bit of stimuli to our arms. So this is the position that we're going to hang. We're going to have our elbows right underneath of our shoulders. Our spine is going to be nice and relaxed. Our feet are going to be touching the ground. And we're just going to be looking forward. Okay, and we're going to hold this for about 5 minutes. So when you're ready, getting into position, maybe finding a point of focus on the wall in front of you, maybe finding that drishti, or if you need to, even taking your eyes and closing them for the next 5 minutes. And again, just coming back to your breath. Try to keep the neck nice and long, chin is parallel to the ground. Relax your hips, relax your legs. You should only be supported right now by your arms. With a nice bend in the lower back. If you need to, because it's too much for you to keep them so close into your body, maybe just bring those elbows out another inch. Really allowing your body to settle into this pose. On an inhale, taking those arms out to either side, dropping your cheek down, your right cheek, and just letting your arms kind of hang down by your legs and your waist on either side. And just pausing here for a few moments. You can even rotate to your left cheek just to give your neck a little bit of a break. Taking some time here for a little bit of a counter stretch. Just lying flat, allowing the pressure that we felt in our shoulders to dissipate. When you're ready, I want you to flip over to your backs. We're going to take a supine twist to either side, and then we're going to come into Savasana. So we're almost there. Keeping our body nice and straight, we're going to bring the right leg in towards the chest. I'm just pulling this leg in, maybe just releasing any tight areas. And when you're ready, taking your right arm out and keeping it flat. We want to keep a nice straight line in the arms. We're going to take our left leg or our right leg and pull it across our body with our left arm. And when we're ready, keeping our shoulders on the mat, we're going to look over that right arm. We're going to hold this here for a few minutes. On an inhale, coming back to center, pulling that right leg in one more time before we release it to the ground. And we're going to switch legs, bringing our left leg in towards the center of the body, hugging it in nice and tight, adjusting any areas that feel slightly discomfort. Rubbing that left arm out to the left side and pulling our left leg across our right body. We're going to hold this again for about 2.5 minutes. Just staying here, breathing into this pose. Shoulders should be on the mat. Looking out over our straight left arm. On and out, coming back to center, pulling that left knee in for one more time and kind of dropping down. Now, we're going to move into Savasana, and I'm going to give you guys a couple different variations of what you can take for Savasana pose. I highly encourage some kind of elevated leg posture just to give yourself a little bit of fresh prana to the body. You can either take legs up the wall, which I will show you right now. So it's best to take your base right to the edge of the wall. If you want, you can also utilize a blanket and put that kind of right underneath of your backside. So getting close to the wall and then kind of bending down and just lifting those legs right up and letting them kind of hang open just slightly. You can lay your arms out to either side. And you can either stay here, or if you want, utilize those blocks and your bolster and set your blocks up so that they come to where your feet would be. You can either lay here, just supporting your legs slightly like this, and maybe placing your blanket towards where your head would be, just like this. Or maybe if you want a deeper variation, just a little bit more of an incline, putting your bolster on top of your blocks. Now this is where I'm gonna stay, but feel free, you can either lay completely flat in traditional Savasana, you can take legs up the wall, or you can utilize your props like I am. And we're just gonna hold this here for 5 minutes. Really just giving ourselves time to relax. We just worked some really difficult areas in our upper body, and it's always good to give ourselves the time to just unwind. I'm actually gonna fold my blanket a little bit to support my neck better. And I'm gonna settle in, letting my legs come to my bolster, opening up slightly, letting my arms fall to either side. Begin to close your eyes, coming back to the way that we started this practice, and just breathe. Focusing on that intention, that goal you set for this practice, and just allowing the body to completely relax. When you're ready, bringing your awareness back into your body. Taking an inhale and releasing the exhale. One more time, inhale and exhale. Maybe bringing some movement into your fingertips and your toes. Begin to circle your wrists and your ankles, maybe moving your legs ever so slightly, and rocking on to your right or left side body, whatever you choose, and just pausing for a moment here before coming up to the seat. Keeping those eyes closed, make your way back up to your mat into a seated position. Bringing our hands to our third eye center to seal this practice. It was an honor guiding you on the mat today. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bowing our heads forward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed this sequence. I really did. I can feel my shoulders and my neck just feel that much more open and flexible, and even my wrists. So hopefully you took away some benefits from this practice, and feel free to join us again on the mat with another session. Have a good one.